Hello, listeners. This week on the podcast, Zach and I discuss my brand new book, Hey Yang, Where's My $1,000? And other true stories of staggering depth. Yup, I wrote a humor book about the experiences of the last number of years. You can pre-order a copy at the link in the show notes. You can use the code UBI for 25% off. I hope you enjoy. We are back with me and Zach and me, to talk about the mayoral race, some exciting new developments. So on the mayoral race, people ask me this all the time too. I've been on the news a fair amount, and I wrote up my thoughts in compendious, comprehensive fashion. Most of you, I'm imagining if you listen to this podcast, you probably get my my newsletter / blog, maybe. But if you didn't, you can check it out. It's just called Zohran Mamdani, and then sent out an updated version that was really the exact same thing.
But he's our new mayor.
Though it held up very well. And I think the main concern I have was expressed in that, okay, so there are two things to talk about where Zohran's concerned, in my opinion. So number one, what can he actually deliver in terms of the economic agenda?
Right.
And then number two, what is the tension / clash with Trump going to look like and result in?
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with the economic deliveries. So some of his promises, I think he might be able to implement and get done. Some very, very hard. The really sexy ones around taxing the rich, almost impossible unless he can get the legislature in Albany and the governor to get on board with that.
Oh, really? They control the tax rate in New York City?
Yeah, no, he would need the legislature to sign off, and Kathy Hochul has not signaled like that this is good. So in a way, he might be able to, posture being like tax the rich, be like, oh, the governor and the legislators wouldn't make it happen. They're the new bad guys, but I tried, and you should be mad at your state electeds. The biggest swings I think he can take that he might be able to implement that he talks about, free childcare is actually a possibility. And that would be a very big deal for a lot of families.
Yeah. Bill de Blasio did when he ran on pre-K.
Yeah.
So that is something the mayor can shuffle around money for, it seems like, and implement.
So free childcare to me is one of the most realistic and plausible, which I love. I mean, childcare is super expensive, and if you can get some help with it, it'd be great. The free buses, in terms of price, it's not that bad. I'm very nervous about free buses, as I wrote in that post, because I think that if you had a free bus, then some people who are very, very troubled or poor or homeless or near homeless might just get on the bus and be like, yo, this thing's air conditioned and free.
Right.
And as far as I can tell, there's no mechanism to get me off the bus.
Correct.
It's not like the bus driver is like some kind of, like enforcer.
Can he do that, or is the MTA still controlled by Albany, or is it?
So as far as I know, you do not need state legislative sign off on that one in the same way.
Yeah.
And then the other major one that he's not talking about as much anymore is city-run grocery stores.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other one's affordable housing too. But
what I said in my post is like, look, give people vouchers to existing grocery stores. Don't open your own, because if you do open your own and you actually did reduce prices, guaranteed that it would just become a money pit and it would only serve people in that area. Like the whole thing, I just never really liked the train of thought on it. You're right, though, that the single biggest one is freeze the rent, affordable housing. So him freezing the rent on the $2 million rent stabilized is within, it's not under mayoral direct control, but it's under, it kind of is, in the sense that there's a board that he has a ton of sway over, kind of point people and say, hey guys, we're freezing the rent. And then there's the affordable housing piece, which is building new housing, which they did pass a series of like ballot initiative amendments,
right? Just to sort of fast track this stuff.
That will make it.
Did they pass? A lot of them passed.
They all passed.
Okay.
And so that's a win. I like the policy a lot. I do think it's going to be best case scenario, the end of his first term before you saw like a lot of new units.
It's hard to do.
Even with a fast track, it's hard to do. I mean, like you'd probably pull up some of the the construction. So there's like a big picture of the Zohran agenda that like I'm generally very, very pro. Some of it, I think is more realistic than others. I do think there's going to be some disappointment where it's like, hey, I thought everything was going to like get cheaper or better with this guy. And like a lot of it's just out of his control and like, blame him, don't blame him. And then the other major thing, and this, by the way, was in his victory speech that made me concerned, was that he essentially directly antagonized Trump.
Yeah.
Said, hey, turn up the volume. And then Trump said, so it begins. And I think Zohran said a little bit later, if ICE agents came here, like we wouldn't let them do their jobs, we'd arrest them, or like da-da-da-da. Like, which, by the way, there's no arresting. Like you can't have NYPD arrest ICE agents. There's like a hierarchy to these things, where you have like, federal law enforcement, and like obviously no cop would ever actually do that. There's like another major complication around Zohran's relationship with the police, which he did something very, very smart, which I applaud. He decided to keep Jessica Tisch, who's well respected.
Yeah. And
Jessica Tisch also said, hey, I'll stay if you don't don't look over my shoulder, like if I have a lot of autonomy.
Conditions, yeah.
Yeah, and so that entire branch of activities, I have a very strong suspicion she's going to get her free reign. She's going to do her thing. But there is no like police interfering with ICE or National Guard. And he already said, look, if ICE came, then like we would stand against them. The more tensions go, I think this plays into Trump's hands. And it seems like Zohran is already kind of courting that. And so that is something that a lot of New Yorkers are very, very nervous about. And I hope that doesn't transpire, but you can kind of see it unfolding that way.
I'm curious your thoughts on the tendency of the Democratic Party to latch on to a victory. Let's call it the mayor's race. Let's call it the New Jersey governor's race, some in Virginia, right? And say, that's the future of the party. That's what we need to do.
Every single time.
Big picture, how does the party react to this? They line up behind him? Do they we start to see more Zohrans in various other cities? I'm just curious what you think this means bigger picture outside of New York.
They're going to take, and it's kind of sad, and I actually wrote about this. It's like our politics have become kind of this personality-driven drama, and Zohran is now a new star in the drama. And the system really, really wants stars.
I love stars.
So will there be people that are kind of wannabe stars in running in various races around the country? Oh, totally. There are going to be a bunch of people who look at this race and say, like, I can do that. Now, they probably can't do that for a variety of reasons. I will say, too, that Zohran got, I want to say, like, a majority, which is good because he might not have gotten a majority and that would have been bad. And he's going to be presented as this crushing victor, which on some level, of course, he is, because he, defeated a political brand name. He was like unknown
incumbent,
like X months ago, blah, blah, blah. Name. He's 34 years old, et cetera, et cetera. But he got 50.3% in a city that has a Democratic to Republican registration advantage of almost 6-1. So you're saying you have super Dem dominated city. For reference, last cycle, Eric Adams in the general against Sliwa got 67%. But just to give you a sense, Eric Adams got 67% in a walkover because everyone's like, doesn't matter. This relationship isn't competitive. Now the electorate grew a ton because a lot of people voted on both sides. A lot of people were like, oh, I love Zohran, or it's like, I really, don't want Zohran. It was frankly a lot of the Cuomo backing. But 50.3% is going to be presented as like this massive, resounding mandate.
General thoughts, I'm curious what you think. Like, two things can be true. I think Zohran he's an incredibly intelligent, or he's an articulate politician. He's a really good messenger. Ran a great race, generally speaking. So he can be a version of a star in the party, depending on what you agree in his politics. And the Dems, ran really bad candidates against him. You had a deeply unpopular Cuomo and Eric Adams. Those are your other two frontrunners in this race. And so he had his lane and then messaged well. And
people don't even remember Eric Adams was in this race.
Yeah, he was in the primary.
No, he dropped out of the Democratic primary.
He dropped out. Yeah, you're right.
Because he was getting wrecked.
Yeah, but he was in. But he was saying he was in. So I think this is what happens when if you run crap candidates, certain wings of the party rise to power, I think, especially if they're talented, which he certainly is.
Thank you, listeners. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, send them to mailbag@andrewyang.com, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you. This podcast is sponsored by Helix Sleep. I have been a proud, happy Helix Sleep customer for years now because my mattress just keeps on giving. I've always been someone who thought, you know what, you should invest in a proper mattress because you're on your back or your belly or your side for 8 hours a night. So I ordered an Ultra Dawn firm mattress, and it has been a game changer. I've had it for, now years, and I'm telling you, total transformation. Go to helixsleep.com/yang for 25% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/yang for 25% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/yang. So that was our Zohran recap, the mayoral recap. I do get asked all the time about what I think about, and I'm glad that I wrote out my thoughts because I can just point people to it.
For sure, and we'll share it.
Speaking of writing, I have something. This is like the world debut of, I think, by the time this thing happens. So you're not going to believe this, Yang Gang, but I wrote a book. This is not a parody cover. This is the real cover of a real book that is entitled,
tell them what the title is.
Hey Yang, Where's My $1,000?
Great question.
And Other True Stories of Staggering Depth. The alternate title was, Hey, Am I Racist or Are You Andrew Yang?
That was my vote, for the record.
Both of those have actually been said to me on the streets of New York, actually.
Yep.
And it's a book about the last number of years behind the scenes. So Zach obviously shows up in it a fair amount, as much as probably any other human.
Here for the ride,
it comes out on February 3rd, 2026. And I'm announcing the book right now to you all. I think by the time this airs, this might have been put out online a few days prior.
Yeah.
But you can pre-order the book now. It's not going to show up till February. I'm even embarking on a book tour of sorts to a number of cities. Look at this, guys. Yang has a book coming out in February and is going on the road to say hello. But I'd love to talk to you, Zach, about the because I think this has been a different kind of book for me.
Yeah, it's a comedy book, somewhat.
It's a comedy book. One of my tests was to try and entertain, and I enjoyed that aspect a lot.
Can I ask you? So you've been doing stand-up at random points around the country.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
Why? In my opinion, you've sort of had stand-up elements to you, and at least at the most minimum would be the pretty good comedic timing in your stump speech, and various debates. But then you also have a lot of comedian friends that let you get what you've called they call a tight five, and it's gotten a little longer. So how's it been being a pseudo comedian, and then do those jokes make their way into this book, or is this separate? What's the Yang stand up?
What is the process? What is the material? It is all true. I have been doing sets or introducing various comedian friends. Mm-hmm. I think most famously, and this is out there somewhere, Dave Chappelle and Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Jo Koy recently. And I get up, and what's fun is each time you can sense in the crowd this wait, do I know this person or what's happening? My opener in Ohio, it was a little bit easier because Dave campaigned with me and whatnot. But I come out on stage, and then Dave introduced me saying, here's a guy who got everything right in 2020, but no one listened because he's Asian, Andrew Yang. And then I come out and I'm like, hey, everyone, anyone here a part of the Yang Yang, did you support me? And then some people applaud, and I say, thank you. For the rest of you, fuck you all. The magical Asian man from the future comes and wants to give everyone money, and you're like, not so sure about this guy. You're why we're all still poor. Congratulations. So I have that kind of energy, I suppose, and it's been really fun. Getting encouragement from the greatest comedian of all time has been fun too. He actually, like, afterwards, he was like, "Oh my gosh, like, you've been practicing," and I hadn't really been practicing in the way that he asked, but Dave encouraged me to do more. So most of that material, it's funny, I actually tested out some of those jokes on the page, and some jokes work better on the page, some jokes work better in real life.
Agreed.
And so most of the stuff I've done on stage, I will say it's like some of it's presented in the book in various forms. Most of the book is about stories of the last number of years that with like very much like an eye toward what people would find entertaining or interesting.
Right.
And you can attest to the fact that while the presidential campaign was very serious, there was some really funny stuff.
It's Veep. It's an episode of Veep all the time. Can you give us a teaser, or what's our favorite story, or one that will maybe translate well on a podcast? I'm curious what you're excited about people reading.
It's a good question. I love delving into some of what I've been up to over this last number of years. And because one of the most common questions I get when someone like sees me on the street, whatever, it's something like, "Hey, Andrew Yang, like, oh, wow, like, great to see you. Like, I'm a fan. Can I get a selfie?" Like, generally that dynamic. It's lovely. It's warm. But then also the question I get a lot is like, "So what have you been up to?" And then I'm just like, what have I been up to? Like,
Do not follow my every moment.
Yes. You're not like you're tracking my every
tweets.
movement. One that I was I was at an event, and I said, like, I'm here to help us all reflect on a very, very serious question. Who is your wireless provider? Heck, I like now started Noble Mobile to save everyone money and get us off our phones. But the random person on the street, the odds of them knowing about
Low,
which I like and take. So this book in some ways is like what have I been up to, and sort of tracing. But then you can't start at a particular moment. So I actually started at the beginning. Well, I actually started at the mayoral. And to the extent that, there's like a funny story that I think people would enjoy, that I was campaigning in Harlem on the mayoral, and I was being heckled by this mentally ill Asian guy who was like following us around.
Yeah.
And then there was another homeless guy just watching and looking around being like, what the hell's going on? And then the mentally ill Asian guy literally just takes a 20 out of his wallet and is like, "Here, like, help me." He's like, "Okay." And so then the heckler is just chanting, "Andrew Yang sucks, Andrew Yang sucks." And then he pays this guy to join him in like, "Andrew Yang sucks." So I have like two mentally ill guys chanting Andrew Yang sucks while I'm like, trying to give like some press conference. And then I said, like, part of me found this hysterically funny, but then part of me was like, we got to get out of here before he finds another homeless guy. And then they become a trio, because when they become a trio, then everyone knows that equals a movement.
Three's a crowd. Yeah.
Yes. And then it would be like that. So there are like stories like that are going on where, like you said, there are episodes of Veep.
Yeah.
I found myself with these stories I wanted to share. And it's funny because like I write every week, and like a lot of you guys read my stuff. But it doesn't make sense to just be like, "Hey guys, here's a newsletter about some like weird thing that happened." Like that, that's not a thing.
Right.
And so this book became the container for all of the weird things.
The outtakes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, some of it's a lot of it is outtake type stuff. It's actually a very quick read. From the very small handful of people that have read it, they said it's a very, very quick read. But it's like 260 pages of
stories
and outtakes, and it's meant to be a love letter to everyone who has supported us over this period. Because if you've been listening to this podcast, thank you. If you believe in me and Zach and like the movement trying to do positive things. Thank you. And there's been all this stuff going on that I've wanted to share, but there was no logical place to do it. And so this was like the way. This is like me trying to share with everyone who made Andrew Yang a thing. And that's what the dedication of the book is. It says, to everyone who's made Andrew Yang a thing. And chief on that list, Zach, is you. Let's see if I can, the camera, you probably can't pick it up, but it says, to everyone who has made Andrew Yang a thing, thank you. So thank you, Zach. Thank you, Yang Gang. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this this journey. And this is the journal for the journey, at least from my perspective. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. I genuinely think that you will, because it was a lot of fun to write. And that itself was like, because, I mean, these are shitty times, honestly. You know, not to, you know, pretend. But I thought, you know, what could I write that would like give people some joy and energy, levity. I'm not much of a cook. I enjoy getting my meals. It takes a lot of consideration, and I don't like to think very much. There are a number of things I don't like to do. And when you get a Factor meal, you know it's going to be tasty, healthy. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready to eat. Just heat them up in a few minutes, and you will be eating fresh, healthy food in no time. My favorite is the horseradish encrusted chicken. And I have to say, like, you can tell the meals are healthy even as they taste great. You know that sweet spot? That's what these meals hit. Get started at factormeals.com/yang50off and use code yang50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code yang50off at factormeals.com/yang50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/yang50off.
Can I ask you this? I think it's funny. Pretty much all the other books you've written, at least the ones you've written yourself, you probably had to do a lot of research, like in the numbers, in the weeds.
Oh yeah, there's a lot verifying.
Of that. I'm assuming, was it weird writing a book for the first time? You probably didn't have to fact check anything.
Yeah, I just fact checked right here, bro. Fact checked here.
You know what I mean?
It was right here.
Like, people see you as a numbers guy, and you're out here. So I would say this, guys. I am all in on this. My side project is trying to get Andrew to do a Netflix comedy special at some point.
Fun, yeah.
Because I think if you saw that on your Netflix screen, you'd be like, maybe interesting. And then I think you could combine it with your sort of natural humor and sort of the comedy that comes with running for office, but also like there's political and sort of AI and tech humor and just generic being an Asian man humor. You have a lot of lanes you can go here, which I've heard. I think you could have a pretty good set here. So that's my hope.
I have the beginnings of a set I'd be proud of. The longest I've gone is maybe like 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, we got to get to 40 maybe, I think.
Yeah. And
what's a healthy set? It's like 40 minutes to an hour.
But thank you, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, I'm pumped about this.
Yeah, look at this.
Selfishly, I think Noble will sponsor it. It'd be great.
So fun.
It'll be fun. I don't know. I'm excited about this.
He's not just saying that because he's one of the protagonists of this book.
No, I'm not saying that. I've had roles in your books. But
I do want to express this a little bit because I had because this is a very different book for me, and you're right. Like every other book I've written involved a fair amount.
You were like, I gotta check my numbers. I even tell them many times when I watch you write a book, you're like, I haven't verified the numbers yet. I gotta. I need to do more research.
So most of you are very familiar with The War on Normal People, which was the presidential campaign book about AI, UBI.
New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, multiple times too. Yeah.
Every time I go on the debate stage, it sells better.
yeah, it's true. Thank you, Elizabeth Warren.
Thanks, Liz Warren.
So.
But that was fun. Did that make the book? Where you're like what? They asked one of those dumb questions in debates. They're like, what gift would you give another candidate? And you were like, Liz, you said some things to disagree about. I'd love to give you my book.
Which was genuinely not intended as like a plug for my book. But then like X hours later, I get a call from my publisher being like, "Hey, just made the New York Times bestseller list."
That's
because
so-
like
it was
after
so
the debate,
funny.
everyone bought your book.
And when they ask that question as a staffer, they're like, "Hey, what gift would you give him?" I'm like, yeah, we did not prepare him for that one. We didn't. We thought you think of the BS. Like, what could they ask you? Like, we missed it. Like holiday cheer sort of gift. Anyway, so our hearts dropped. Like, hope Andrew thinks of something interesting here.
Yeah, I mean, who knew?
Book was
Like,
not
it really
bad.
was not that intentional. But she actually said she read my book and enjoyed it. So that was a very, very factual book. Forward was a very factual book. I did a lot of research and reading for each of those books. Also, my first book that no one has read, called Smart People Should Build Things, had actually some facts and figures. So that was a little bit more like, the story of Venture for America's founding. This book was a lot easier to write in that sense because I wasn't like, oh, let me check this, check that. And I will confess to you that this book was different because every book I've written before has been, here's a serious problem, and then here's like my serious solution, and
backed by data,
and let's go after it. So War on Normal People, which again most of you have read, AI is coming and eat the jobs, and I'm going to document it in every way I can, identify. And then here are some things we could do about it. And then ran for president on it. And still, that book, by the way, like I still, look through it. I'm like, hey, do I need to update this? It still holds up great.
it holds up well. Yeah.
It holds up really well. I mean, it's coming true before our eyes. Forward,
Thanks.
hey, the two-party system is going to get dumber and more polarized and less functional. And like there isn't like a legislative path. And it infuriates me all the time. Like Dems are like, oh, we can do it. It's like, you guys will have a very, very hard / impossible task in getting to 51 senators. Without 51 senators, you cannot legislate. Like, you could argue you need like more than 50. Right? Yeah, you need like to
60.
Yeah, etc. So like what are you guys going to do in a world where you lost seats in Ohio and West Virginia and can't replace them? What's the plan? But like that, like there's no discussion about that because again, what happens to people and the rest of it is irrelevant. It's like all that matters is like the play acting and the drama. So Forward like set out its very serious problem around polarization, and then set out like a solution set around nonpartisan primaries, ranked choice voting, and did a TED talk. Changed the world. All the campaigns won. Politics works again now. I mean, that last stuff didn't happen. But it was a very, very serious, substantive argument. And I confess to you all that like I did not have another book like that in me at present because like I've written 2 books laying out very serious solutions and then spent years trying to make those solutions happen. And I'm still working on both of them. Like I mean, like I believe, but then I didn't have it in me to be like, hey, here's like serious problem, there's a solution. It's like I'm trying to make the other solutions work. So I had to switch tacks to try to entertain and unload. I say also in the intro, this book's a little bit of therapy for me. To give myself permission to write this book or really write another book at all because I'd had a form and a format of writing a book, a nonfiction book. And grateful to everyone who has like supported us and enjoyed the stuff I've written. I wrote every word of this. I wrote every word of War on Normal People. I wrote every word of Forward. I did not write virtually any of the words on last election. I don't think that's a mystery to anybody because I gave the ideas and so did you to Stephen Marsh and then edited, but he was like the heavy lifter. He wrote. So for me to be able to write this, I had to give myself like a very different kind of permission and a different task where it's like my challenge here is like, can I make you laugh? Can I entertain you? Can I make you feel a little better? Can I share something that you'd find personally interesting? And so I got to say, like, I enjoyed the heck out of this book. I can't wait for people to read it and to have a sense of what's been going on behind the scenes. This podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is, most of us didn't have much of a choice because ISPs operate a lot like monopolies in the regions that they serve. They then use this monopoly position to take advantage of customers, and yes, they even sell your data, your activities to advertisers and big tech companies, and you don't see a dime. That's why I protect my internet surfing and devices with ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, it's like a magic portal to a perfectly safe and anonymous internet. And don't take my word for it. This is the #1 VPN service according to CNET. It's used by major companies all over the world. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech companies who then mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with a VPN I trust to keep my privacy online. Visit expressvpn.com/yang. That's expressvpn.com/yang to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/yang right now to learn more.
Maybe this is a dumb question, but maybe it's a deep question. What's harder, proposing a solution to a very complicated problem that you think will work, or making people laugh?
I feel like,
You know what I mean?
The
comedy's hard too.
Some people think humor is really hard. Like when they see me be funny, they're just like, "Wow!" Like that.
Sometimes they're shocked. Like,
sometimes,
I actually
that's
genuinely
true.
laughed. Yeah.
There are 3 things I get in real life when someone sees me or meets me. It's like, "Wow, you're taller than I thought."
Mm-hmm.
"Wow, you're nicer than I thought," and like, "Wow, you're funnier than I thought." Those are like the 3 things I get.
So that either means I'm
like
tall,
short, mean, and unfunny on
camera, or you're at least portrayed that way. Yeah,
you've been portrayed that way. Thank you, New York Times. No, I'm just kidding.
Or we set the bar real low.
Well, New York Times literally shrank me.
Or maybe you genuinely are.
You guys like, you remember they shrank me and then they had to retract it.
Oh, they
being like,
shrink you all the time, man.
God. Shouldn't
we can't.
Did that make it in the book?
PTSD on this stuff. Yeah.
Sorry. So please do check out the book. You can pre-order it right now. But I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna be going on tour.
Yeah.
Like when it comes out.
Comedy tour. I'm here for the Andrew Yang comedy pivot. I'm into that.
And there's actually a chapter in the book about the 3 modes of communication, and the 3 are politics, comedy, and pro wrestling.
I mean, there's usually a rule of thumb that the funniest candidate wins, at least on the presidential level. And you know what? Joe, before he started losing his facilities, was pretty funny. I don't know if he was funny to you, but he was funny. He was funnier than the average for sure. Like him, like staring, like berating supporters sometimes is funny.
I think humor is one of the paths.
And Trump, Trump, you can hate him and probably should, but he is hilarious. Like, he's very funny.
I mean, he's a hybrid between a pro wrestling villain, an insult comic, and a political movement leader.
Yep.
He's
crazy.
So anyway. I thank you to everyone who's supported me and Zach over this last number of years. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. For believing in this comedic turn, Zach. I appreciate it a lot.
I'm so in for this, for you all to listen. Like, this will be a good side project for me. I'm very excited about it. I'm like, why is your set not longer yet? I'm like, you got to try out your new material on me.
No, you got to work on it. Good. Look at this. This is like...
It's going to be funny. You have a lot of good material, whether it's in the book or like jokes about AI. Like, you can have like this sort of political lane of insight and humor. That'll be fun.
I'll actually tell you like sort of funny story, and then we'll wrap. So I'm with Jo Koy in Durham, visiting. My brother just moved down there to
work at the greatest university on the planet, Duke University.
Yeah. So then I'm with Joe in the green room, and I'm like, "Hey, Joe, can I like go on stage and introduce you?" And then he's like,
I love that he thought about it.
No, then he looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, that'd be great." He's like, and then you could tell his wheels were turning. Then he was like, "But do me a favor, no politics." Because Joe, by the way, Joe's hysterical, and I would urge anyone
who's
really
like
on the fence to like about seeing him. You should see him live. He's freaking phenomenal.
He's one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah. But he even said to me, he was like, like no politics. And so I mentally was like, can't say that, can't say that, can't say that.
It's a young, budding comedy career. You can't be rattled. You can't be pissing off those who have established comedy careers. You have to take what you get. That's what we start trying this stuff out at the Comedy Cellar in New York. You get test material. You get up shit. They probably let.
They actually
let me, but they might they let a lot of people play.
They're actually already asking me to do sets.
Oh yeah, I am so in for this. I'll let everybody know when this is happening. This is gonna be good.
It's gonna be below the radar, and then all of a sudden it's gonna come out like a phoenix.
Like this is my goal. You're gonna see him on Netflix. Be like, wait, and it's gonna be called like, am I racist or are you Andrew Yang?
That's a pretty good name, right? Netflix.
And you'll watch it and you'll be like, wait, that was actually, as a kid say, it'll be low key funny.
I want it to be smart and funny. There's like the two things that
it has to be smart. That's the thing we're gonna need to make sure the intelligence
is delicious or deported.
Yeah, delicious. Smart. That's smart. Yeah, I know that's pretty smart. It's witty.
So hopefully you guys will check out the book, Hey Yang, Where's My $1,000? And Other True Stories of Staggering Depth. If you do want 3 free months off your wireless bill, because I want to lighten the load on everyone, just email matt@noblemobile.com, matt@noblemobile.com, and we will hook you up. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting us over this last number of years. And you will see me, probably not Zach, but me, on the book tour early next year that may double as a bit of a comedy tour. We shall see.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Love you guys. See you.